Hey, how are you doing tonight? How are you doing? Welcome to another week of KBBU Behind the Scenes with me, Michelle Green, and the KBBU family. That's right, we are here tonight to welcome you into another behind the scenes of what, Michelle? Behind the scenes of our business university. Listen, we are a business school. And we are here to offer you an associate certification, a bachelor certification, and a VIP master certification in all things business. That's right. So every idea that you can ever think about that relates to a business is something that we have the answer to right here at Kingdom Builders Business University. And I am your founder of the organization. And we've been in business since 2018, educating entrepreneurs all over the world on how to do business the right way. We know that as entrepreneurs, there are so many people out here who really don't know what they're doing as a business owner. They go in business and they have some of the answers, but they don't have all the answers. And that's why KBBU exists. We are literally exponentially empowering every elite entrepreneur for excellence. That is our motto. So listen, if you haven't heard of us or this is your first time watching us, make sure that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you never ever miss another episode of the KBBU Behind the Scenes show. That's right. We are powered by the CTR Media Network. We are also over 140 countries on the CTR Media Network. We are everywhere. Billions of countries, billions of people all over the world are watching us right now in over 140 countries, y'all. So listen, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, that you like and you share, and that you don't forget that we come on every single Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to share these financial and business tips with you. Any kind of business tips, not just financial, but also business setup, business security, business money, credit and funding, business and life management, as well as business marketing, media, and sales. And then sometimes we go into business communications, business influence, business operations. Listen, we talk about all things business, the business work ethic, the business credit. We talk about all of that. So you don't ever want to miss an episode. I'm telling you right now, make sure that you are locked in. So tonight we are going to talk about something that is really trending. I would say trending, as they say, something that is trending. And the thing that is trending that we're going to be talking about tonight is the rise of artificial authority. Now, I say artificial authority, but y'all know that I'm referring to artificial intelligence. Everybody is using artificial intelligence. So how does this affect your business? If we think about as a business owner, we go back, especially for those of us who have been in business for a little bit of a time, or for even those of us who have been in business just in the last few years, we know that this is a new era in time that we are not necessarily used to. But for the brand new entrepreneurs that are currently, just coming along and beginning to open up their companies, then guess what? You guys may have one up on us because you are walking into a new business idea, creating your companies with the understanding of how artificial intelligence works. But many of business owners that are out here today, they really don't have the understanding of what artificial intelligence really is doing for the economy, what it's doing for your particular industry. And it's not necessarily something that everybody is catching on to right now. And when I say that and there are pros and there are cons to artificial intelligence or artificial authority. And what we have to understand that We are the original, authentic authority. And there is this artificial intelligence or artificial authority that we are engaging in now that is allowing us to really begin to expand and grow in our ability to grow our companies, our ability to expand, and our ability to really just take on a business and take it to a six, a seven, an eight, a 10-figure level. So we need to really think about how does this artificial authority affect our particular company. So let's just break that down for a second. What is your business industry? What do you do as a product or a service to offer to the world? What is it that is your particular niche? And think about that for a second. And then think about how artificial authority or artificial intelligence can actually begin to help you be catapulted into a whole nother dimension, a whole nother level of income for business. Listen, when we think about all of the do's and don'ts of being a business owner, let's just look at the reality. The reality is that we have a whole lot on our plate. Okay. As a business owner, we have a lot of responsibilities, and especially if we are this solo type of preneur. If we're the solopreneur, if we're trying to do business by ourselves, which I see all the time, most of the people that we work with at KBBU, they are in business for themselves, but they don't necessarily want to remain in business for themselves by themselves. We want to build a team. But before we can get to building a team, we need to really understand the breakdown of understanding how to implement this artificial authority. So, to understand the artificial authority, the first thing we've got to do is understand how to operate our actual businesses. Do you have a format that explains what you do from the beginning to end after you have thought about what it is that you are bringing to the table for the world to see your solution? So, if you're looking at your product or service, like I just asked you to, and you think about for a second, based on your particular industry, how can artificial authority or artificial intelligence, how can that impact your business in a positive way? And how does it impact your business in a negative way? So, first of all, let's just be honest about what is happening in the world today. What's happening in the world today is there are a lot of jobs that are being replaced. There are a lot of people that are out of work because artificial intelligence has already started to impact the job industry, the employee industry. And as business owners, we got to be on top of things as it relates to this artificial authority so that we will not be left behind, so that we will not be left in the dust. You know how somebody's running and the smoke piles up behind them after they run. We got to make sure that we are not the people that are left in the dust, okay? We got to be out front. Really need to be out way ahead of the ball game of being a business owner. So we should be already involved in some type of artificial authority. We need to understand that we are the ones that commands the artificial authority because we are the authentic authority givers of this artificial intelligence that everybody is catching on to. But we got to understand how to run and operate our own businesses so that we can help artificial authority to understand where it needs to be implemented and what it actually needs to do. So we got to start right there. We got to go back to the original idea that this is what I do. This is my product. This is my service. And after I get my product and service together, now I got to figure out exactly what is my process. So, what are your SOPs? What are your standard operating procedures as a business owner? What is it that you have written down on paper or typed up on a document that shows or explains your outline of your entire business? See, if you are a business owner, and especially for our solopreneurs out there, I'm not knocking you because I started out that way myself. But what we got to understand is that, y'all, We cannot do business, even if it's just ourselves, and we know all of the things in our head that we are supposed to be doing every day. We cannot afford to continue to not put it to paper. We got to get the things, the procedures, the outline of what we do from start to finish and finish to start. We got to be able to write that down on a piece of paper, or we got to be able to put that in the computer on a document and have it recorded so that if anybody, when you do begin to hire people, even if it's an independent contractor, you are able to give them this outline of what it is that they are supposed to do. Now, normally we would bring in a human being to take on those responsibilities once we have the outline down pat. Once your SOPs are in order, once you write everything out and you begin to go and put those actions in place every single day for your product or service to be moved, to be pushed forward so that people can buy your products or services, but also internally so that you can really begin to understand the breakdown of what is it that you actually need. See, your duties and your responsibilities internally as a business owner does not work if you don't have a system in place that explains exactly what it is that you need to be doing at every given moment while there is work to do. Okay. And work doesn't stop for the entrepreneur. Work does not stop for us because we are constantly, even in our sleep, we are thinking about our businesses. And if you're not a full-time entrepreneur yet, let me tell you, you're going to be there, and you're going to be at a point where you are always thinking about your business and how you can get it to grow, expand, increase. And that's what we are all about here at KBBU, to help you with those problems. Okay, we're helping you to get all of that stuff out of your head. But back to what I was saying. So once you write down this procedure, this standard operating procedure, and you have a outline of understanding what comes first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. Then once you got everything in place and you have an order, now you have the opportunity to begin to implement artificial authority. Why artificial authority? Because artificial authority, let me give you some pointers on artificial authority. Now, it is pretty fast, it's pretty quick, it's going to spit out information a whole lot faster than the average human being. Now, I'm not saying to knock who I am as a person or who you are as a person. I'm just saying that we got to understand how to begin to take this artificial authority and implement it into places where we could really eliminate a lot of time, save money, and be able to grow and increase our companies. And if we don't have this SOP, if we don't have this standard operating procedure, then how in the world can we just decide that we're just going to start playing around with this artificial intelligence? We're going to just implement it anywhere, and it may not even be a good place for artificial authority to even be implemented. Okay, so let's just look at that for a second. When we look at the beginning phases of our organization, what is the first part of our company that we encounter with a client? What is the first thing that we have to do? We have to communicate, right? So if we are communicating, is there a possibility that you could have, instead of a human being answering the phone, instead of you as a solopreneur trying to pick up every call every time, and sometimes you're not able to catch every call, sometimes it has to go to voicemail, sometimes it has to go, to a text message. What kind of system do you have in place that if somebody else were taking those calls, if somebody else were picking up those text messages or those emails, how would it be able to respond properly to the clientele? And then, so when we look at communications as the entryway of being a business owner and the entryway of the artificial authority, it's a good fit for artificial authority or artificial intelligence to be implemented in our communications. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's every time that there has to be an artificial intelligence on the other line, because I know that many of us still are not accustomed to hearing when we call an organization or when someone calls our business, we're not accustomed to having artificial intelligence answer the phone. So if you're not comfortable with that, I'm not saying that you have to go forward with having the artificial intelligence answer the phone, but what I am saying is that think about the breakdown of the communication. So someone calls your business, and even if you continue to answer the phone, is there a system in place of artificial authority that could possibly take over after the call has ended? Possibly, is there a way for artificial intelligence to be able to respond to thank the person for their call? Is there a way for artificial intelligence to send them a text message or an email? How is it that you are communicating with your clientele, and can you implement this artificial intelligence to make your life easier as a business owner? Because that's the entryway of all businesses, is first communication. So when we talk about how we are connecting to our clientele, the first thing that we can do is find the sweet spot of where artificial authority can actually be implemented to not necessarily take away that human touch, but to be able to do something that is going to help your client and you to stay connected, and also to really just grow your business in a great way, because it's all about that communication with your client. So think about that for a second. Think about how artificial authority could really make a big, huge impact in your business at the beginning entryway stage of your standard operating procedure. Now, let's look at another procedure. So, is there, once you actually talk to the client, is there a process of setting up an appointment? Okay. Don't we need to make sure that every single client that we talk to has an appointment schedule? Or is it that you have a product or service that as soon as you talk to the client, that they are pretty much done with your whole product or service that you're offering? And if it is so that you are done with the client once you talk to them that first time, that initial time, do you want a repeat client? So, what is the procedure for you to be able to follow up with that client, and not just follow up for an appointment, but maybe buying the product or service again? And how can you implement artificial authority to be able to help you with that? Come on, y'all. We got to think about how to make this work for our companies, because our companies are our babies. This is everything, right? So, how come we are just being really objective to the fact that we don't want to either utilize the artificial intelligence, the artificial authority? Why are we hesitating on moving forward? Because we don't know where to put artificial intelligence. That is the reason why many of us are hesitating on using this service, because what's happening is that we are afraid that it's going to take over, and then we're not going to have control. But we need to understand the key word that I'm using in this artificial understanding is who has the right authority. So there's artificial authority and there is authentic authority. That's right. Authentic authority is your human ability to be able to command this artificial intelligence to do whatever it is that you need it to do. But if you don't know your own procedures yourself, then there's no way that you can have it help your company to implement different procedures in a faster, more efficient way that will help you and your client stay connected. It's no way that you can do it if you don't understand you yourself have the authority. If you don't understand that you are the one that makes the command for the artificial intelligence to do what it's supposed to do. And if you don't understand your own procedure, there is just no hope for you being able to properly utilize artificial intelligence. So first we got to familiarize ourselves with artificial intelligence. We got to look at the breakdown of the different systems that are out there for artificial intelligence. Get to know what every single artificial intelligence is offering you. Get to know how to operate every system. And then once you begin to do that, then you can go into the fact of, okay, now I know what each one does. Now I can make the command so that the authority of the artificial intelligence can do what it is that I needed to do and make my life a lot easier. But it's not to totally take over every single job task or every operating procedure. It is just there to help implement certain tasks, certain operating procedures that would actually make your life easier, that would speed up the process, that would take a load off your shoulders because you already are under a lot of stress and a lot of responsibilities, I'm sure. If your life is like mine, I'm running 4 different businesses, and the different businesses, even though we have people as staff members in the organizations, what happens is we got things that we can definitely have hand over to artificial authority, artificial intelligence, that would just make the whole business and every single employee, every staff member live a better life. I promise you. It will be, it's just so much better when you understand why you have the ability to command this artificial intelligence to do what it needs to do, and when you understand what it is that you are supposed to do as a business owner. So let's talk about a couple of other things. So what are some pros? So some pros to artificial authority is speed. Okay, we got that down pat. We know that speed is the thing. We also know that artificial authority creates a perception of opportunity. So it actually can speak in a way that we cannot speak. It helps us to think in a way that maybe we haven't considered to think. So it gives us a different perspective on how to handle problems that would probably take us like maybe months or years to figure out if we are just waiting on walking through the everyday procedure of our business before we would figure out what the answer is. So it gives us a different perspective. So the opportunity of a pro for artificial authority is that the perception creates better opportunity. Not necessarily better, but I would say it would definitely create a more efficient and effective opportunity for our business. Then we look at the levels, the levels of playing field. We're talking about your 20-year experience, your 15-year experience, your 10-year experience. What happens is it takes what you already have, it combines all of the things that you got with the things that are happening in today's society. It keeps you up to date, it keeps you current, it helps you to understand how to combine your experience with the artificial intelligence. It helps to combine the things that you are good at that you don't even recognize that you're good at. And it takes those things and be is able to combine the things that you have had experience in and expand it and grow it on a much higher level than what you could ever do, because maybe you just don't even recognize what you got in your hands already. So when you deal with the pros of artificial intelligence, it's going to bring to the table something that is going to really help to expand and grow and increase your business. And you really do need to pay attention to what it is that you are in need of before you decide that you're just going to put it on the back burner. You'll figure it out later until it comes a time where you're the only person that's not doing it. Okay. So what are some dangers, or what are some, I won't say danger, I'll say, so what are the cons of artificial authority? So artificial authority, one of the things that we do want to really make plain, because I see a lot of people doing this, There's a lot of people that are out here allowing artificial intelligence to redo who they are. And when I say redo who they are, what does your image look like? When you decide that you are going to allow artificial intelligence to remake your photo, redo the person who you are, and that's absolutely okay for you to allow it to do a remake of your image, but you want to make sure that it really looks like you. You want to make sure that it really looks and feels like your personality. You want to make sure that it's not something that is taking, that it maybe doesn't have the full, you know how you can't put your finger on something because you know something ain't right about the situation or about a person. Well, that's the same kind of concept that you want to really be mindful of as a con with artificial authority, because when it gets to the point where we're not just using it for communication or the standard operating procedure, but we're using it for our own image to show the world who we are as business owners, then that becomes a problem for us, because when people see us out there in these cameras, in these social media um, opportunities, when we are out here in front of these cameras and people begin to see us, if they see us as one image on social media or behind a camera, but then they come in to actually meet us in person and we look totally different, like that is a problem. So that could be an issue for artificial authority, that if we're not careful, the artificial authority will begin to give us a image that is not a true image of who we are. So please understand that you are the one that has the authority. You have the authentic authority. So utilize your authentic authority to make sure that if you are using artificial intelligence to create your photo shoot, to create, who you are as a person, to show the world who your business is, who you are as the business owner, listen, make sure it looks like you. Make sure it sounds like you. Make sure it feels like your personality. Make sure that the characteristics of who you are implemented in the command of the artificial authority. Because we don't want to go throughout life having people create these images of themselves and it's nothing like the person of who they are. But why is that important as a business owner? It's important as a business owner because that could be really be the thing that makes or breaks your company. People want real folk. They want the real person. They don't want the fake person. We'll take the fake person because everyone's getting used to the artificial intelligence. Now a lot of people are using it more and they're creating their own photo shoots. They're creating their own images. They are lining up things with advertisement and commercials, and you can hardly tell the artificial intelligence from the real thing. But what I'm saying is that even though that's available to us, we still don't want to walk away as a business owner with our clients believing that this is who we are as the image of artificial authority. And when they meet us and when they do business with us over the phone or over virtual or over a text message, that we are really a whole different personality. We are really a whole different characteristic. We don't want that. We want to be who we actually are. So I want you to sit down and think about, as a con from artificial authority, artificial intelligence, are you really giving the command of artificial intelligence to really create who you actually are? We don't want the fake person. We want the real person, the one that has some flaws, the one that has some mistakes, the one that doesn't always get everything right, because that's who we are as human beings. We are not perfect, and everything is not going to always come out in a certain way of perfection. So we got to be realistic, y'all. We cannot just decide that we are going to move forward with artificial intelligence. And just because we do have many cons We have many pros to artificial authority, artificial intelligence, but there are also some cons to it. And we need to correct the problem of creating these personalities of people who we really are not at all. Maybe we are shy. Maybe we are quiet. Maybe we are not this outstanding, outgoing person. And it's okay that you slightly change, but make sure that you in real life are keeping up with the image that you are portraying out there as a business owner. Because as soon as people really find out who you are, there's a great possibility that they will be out the door and you will lose business and people will not want to trust you because as a business owner, the bottom line, even though I don't like to use the word trust, but the bottom line is trust. As a business owner, do people trust you? Do you have a good reputation? So if you're out here and you are listing all these different images of artificial authority, artificial intelligence, to command you being this person that you really aren't, then that can be a problem as to why you don't have the sales that you need, why you don't have the business, the clientele, or even the staff that you need, because it is a false representation. And nobody wants a lie. Okay, so we know that artificial intelligence is not authentic intelligence. We know that artificial intelligence is not the real thing. So we got to be conscious as we are utilizing artificial intelligence to understand that we have to build trust. And that's my third point of a con, is that the trust is necessary. We don't want any imposters. We don't want anyone just coming in and deciding that just because you can create artificial intelligence and you can make it do everything as though it's a duplication of you, like you have cloned yourself, right? Even though that's a possibility, even though many of us are already implementing that for our business, it's not always the best thing if it's not really who you are. Okay, so I want you to really begin to think about those things. Is the image of what you're creating for artificial intelligence really you? I want you to think about, do people really trust you based on your artificial authority and based on your authentic authority? And I want you to think about, the comparison of what you're doing in the arena of your field. Are you competing and comparing just because you see somebody else doing this? Or are you actually creating from a authentic place? Are you creating the authentic authority from the authority of artificial intelligence? Are you actually putting out there in the world the things that you have thought about, the things that you have sat down and really pondered over in order for you to grow and expand your business? And how much of that is your idea versus artificial authority? I want you to really begin to think about those things on the flip side of the pros to artificial intelligence, artificial authority. I want you to understand that you have the ability to control this. It's not just about the fact that you can use it and it's a great tool to use for your business and help you to get grants, to help you to get scholarships, to get loans, to be able to get business credit, but it is also some downsides to it. And the downsides, you need to be able to flip the script and make sure that you still understand that at the end of the day, authentic authority precedes artificial authority every time. All right, hands down. This was so good. I love talking to you guys. Listen, if you learned something from today's message, make sure that you comment below and let me know what it is that you learned. What did you gain from this session of the KBBU behind the scenes? See, we are behind the scenes of business education. We are behind the scenes of being a business owner. We are behind the scenes of just everyday life, just as an entrepreneur. And we want to share this and so much more with you. So make sure that you go to our website, www.kbbullc.com, get into our courses, make sure that you are locked in, and our contact information is 855-522-8552. Go to www.kbbullc.com or send us an email at info@kbbullc.com. We will be happy to talk to you about your business today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next Wednesday at 9:30, we will see you then. We will see you in KBBU behind the scenes. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next